In this recording, we'll walk you through how to respond to bids using the Oracle Supplier Portal. The first step is going to be to sign into the Supplier Portal. You'll see this familiar looking sign-in screen. You'll put in the user ID, which is the email address that you signed up with, and the password that you selected, and you'll click sign in. You'll arrive, if you were just in the Supplier Portal, you'll see it right away. If not, you may need to click the home button, which will take you to a screen that looks like this. You could acknowledge any announcements here, and then under Supplier Portal, you'll find the link to the Supplier Portal. So here we are in the Supplier Portal. There are a lot of things that you can do here, but in this particular video, we are focused on how to respond to bids. So we're going to scroll down in the Supplier Portal to negotiations, and we're going to search or view current bid opportunities. Now, this will show you, this will default to showing you all of the bid opportunities that you've been invited to. We recommend that you search by negotiation number. We think that's the fastest way to do it. We also recommend that you toggle these both to blank. So this way you're going to see all negotiations, whether or not you got invited and whether or not you've submitted a response. In this case, I'm planning to look at negotiation 183832. So I'm going to put that here and click search. And up comes 183832, 1. All that means is that this has had an amendment. That could have been a very minor change, but it shows that it's not the original negotiation. It is the amended version. You'll always see the latest version here, and you always need to respond to the latest version. So whether it says 1, 6, 7 when you search, that just means it's an amended version, but that's the version that you should be responding to. So we're going to click on this linked negotiation number. And it's going to take us to a screen that gives kind of an overview of this negotiation. It's going to tell us the title. It's going to tell us the time remaining. We can see that we've only got a little over 6 hours left, when it opened, when it closed, and it's going to have this table of contents. Now, on the cover page, you'll see some more general information. So this is, in fact, the cover page. You'll see some more general information. You'll see when the pre-bid meeting is. Obviously, we're past this pre-bid meeting now, but you'll see all of these good details about how to get more information on the cover page. Before you click through the rest of the table of contents, you want to look at the messages button. Here, it says messages and 1 in parentheses. That means we have 1 unread message. So we're going to click on messages. And this is going to show us messages that have been sent. So there was a message about the OCP training schedule. And there's an attachment that you can view here. Any questions that have been asked by other suppliers or any information that's been posted by the city will be available here. And you are responsible for knowing the information here. So whenever you're looking at the bid and you see unread messages, go in, make sure that you've read them. If you do have additional questions, you can also use the messages tab almost like an email. You can click this plus for create, and then you can type in your question. Now, I'm just doing an example here, so I'm just going to put, I have a question to answer my question. But you would put a subject line about what you needed to know. You'd put more details in the message. You could even attach a document. If you have a question, you just click that plus sign at the bottom and then click choose file here, and you could attach whatever file you wanted to attach. You can also update this, so I might call this question spreadsheet. And hit OK, and now my question spreadsheet is attached, and I can even, and then I click send, and now my question is here. Anyone who's accessing this bid can see the question that I asked, and this way you know everything that's been asked and everything that's been answered, and every supplier has the same access to all of those messages. Once you're done reviewing messages in the supplier or in the messages section, you're going to click the done button. And that's going to take you back to the cover page, which you've already reviewed. So next you're going to go to overview. Overview is going to give you a little more detailed information about the bid. You can always click this expand all button to see the general information, the terms of the negotiation. But the thing that you want to be most focused on here is the attachments. Now there's one attachment that shows up here, and if you click it, it'll download for you. But there's also in parentheses, it says 13 more. You want to click on the 13 more, which is a separate link. And it's going to open a pop-up window that shows you all of the attachments. Every one of these attachments can be downloaded just the same way. Click on it and it'll show up in your downloads. All of these attachments are things that you'll need to review and likely complete in order to submit a response for the bid. So you want to make sure that you have reviewed all of these, you've downloaded all of these before you even start creating a response. All of these, in this case, we're talking about a roofing contract. So they're going to be pricing sheets, they're going to be square foot calculators, they're going to be capacity calculators. You're going to need to review and fill out all of these documents. So that's what you'll find under Overview. Next, we'll go to Requirements. And under Requirements, we'll see documents that are required for multiple bids. Think about the documents on the Overview as specific to this bid, and think about the documents for Requirements as generalized documents. So if you just responded to a similar negotiation from the city a few weeks ago, you may well have filled out some of these already. So this is just going to show us, again, a set of documents that you may need to fill out, but that are likely to be more general than the specific ones in the overview. Once you've looked at those, you can click through to lines. This is just going to show you what you actually need to put in terms of your numerical bid. So in this case, you're just going to need to put in one number, which is your total from attachment C. You'll still fill out attachment C and attach it from the overview and attach it under the overview, but you'll also want to include in the lines, you'll also need to include that total there so that there's one number that we can attach to your bid. And finally, you can look at the contract terms and see if there are any posted contract terms. It looks like there aren't on this one, but if there's a contract template that's going to be used, you may be able to access it here. Now, one thing you've probably noticed is that on all of these sections, there's not a way for you to attach anything, right? On Overview, you have a lot of attachments from the city, but you don't have a way to attach anything. That's because this view is your view for getting oriented within the negotiation, but it's not how you actually create a response. The response creation setup looks very, very similar. It's going to follow the same logic of overview, requirements, and lines. But in order to start a response, you need to click the Create Response button. Because this is an amended negotiation, you do need to acknowledge the amendment. So in order to bid, you have to acknowledge that you know that it's been amended and you're looking at the amended version. You are looking at the amended version. That's what the comma 1 tells you. So we're going to click yes. And now it's going to take us to a screen asking us to acknowledge the amendments that have been made. It looks like there have not been a lot of amendments here. It looks like the only thing that changed, we can see all of these sections, right? The cover page, the requirements, the lines, the contract terms, none of that changed. The only thing that changed was it looks like they added one attachment, right? So we went from 13 total attachments to 14 total attachments, and they changed the open date from August the 10th to August the 11th. So those are the two changes, no problems there. So we're going to click that we've reviewed the changes and we acknowledge them. And then we don't want to click view original negotiation because we want to stay on the amended version. Now that we've checked this box, we're going to click submit. Okay, so the amendments were acknowledged. We can create a response. We do want to continue, so we'll click yes. And now we are into the place where we'll create a response. Notice that overview, requirements, and lines, and then the review page are our options up here. So it does mirror what you've just seen. So in this section, the only thing you have to do is attach the attachments from the overview section that have been completed. You are allowed to put a note to the buyer, although it's not required. You're allowed to put a reference number if your organization uses a reference number to track bids. And you're allowed to put a date after which your response will not be valid. So if your pricing is only valid for the next 30 days, you could select using the date picker a date that's 30 days in advance. But all of those are optional fields and often left blank. The only thing you have to do is, with all those attachments you found in overview, you've filled them out. Now you need to click the plus sign and start attaching them. Just like you saw before with the messages menu, it works exactly the same way. You're attaching a file from the supplier. You're going to click choose file, and you're going to pick an attachment and hit OK. If you need to remove or change any attachments, you can click the plus sign again. You can go back. The X will remove, the plus will add more. So we can choose another file and attach another file here. Again, you can change the title, you can change the description, and you can attach as many files as you want. So there were 14 attachments. We might be uploading 14 files here. Once you're done with all your uploading, we won't do 14, but once you're done with all your uploading, you can click Next and move to the requirements section. In the requirements section, you'll have questions with these radio buttons. So you'll need to answer the questions, and then if applicable, you'll need to submit attachments. So have we read and complied with all the instructions to bidders? We'll click yes. Will you be utilizing subcontractors? If we click yes, we need to attach documents showing, providing those requirements. But in this case, we'll click no. And we won't need to attach anything. We only need to upload documents if we click yes. This asks us about our treasury clearance. Again, that's a city-wide requirement. Anytime you get a contract, you need to make sure that you're in good standing with the City of Detroit Treasury. So we can get that application started here, and we can indicate whether we've completed it or not completed it. If we're considering a joint or mentor venture, we can click here to get more information. So we've now filled out all the required questions for this bid. Some bids will have more required questions, some bids will have fewer. In this case, we don't have that many required questions, but we've completed them, so we can move on. I'll note that you can also use these next buttons to move back and forth, even if you haven't completed a section. So if we've only attached a couple documents under overview, we anticipate having more, we can still use the back and next buttons or just click here to navigate over to a new page. If you're ever in a position where you need to stop what you're doing then and pause, you can always click save. That'll save a draft copy of your response so that you can come back to it the next time you log into the supplier portal. Under lines, as we discussed earlier, you'll put the total response price. So we'll say that our total response was $100,000. It'll format it nicely for us as soon as we click out of the box. And that's the only thing that we need to fill out. We don't fill out the response minimum release amount. We just fill out the response price. So lines is usually very easy to fill out. You're just filling out response price, not anything else. And now when we click over to next, we'll see that we have a summary of what we've submitted. We can see the attachments that we put under overview. We can see that we left these 3 fields blank. We can see the answers that we put in requirements. We can see the number that we put under the lines. And if we're happy with all of that information that we've put in, we can go ahead and click submit. Again, you're always welcome to save and come back to it later. But in this case, we prepped everything beforehand, and so submitting the response was not too hard. And we get this pop-up that tells us response 178969 was submitted. We recommend that you note that number. That'll be a good reference number for you later. So I would jot that down or copy and paste that somewhere on your computer. Once you've done that, we're going to click OK. We're back on the page where we can't enter a response, but we can see all of the the overview, the requirements, the lines, the sort of summary page for the bid. We're done bidding on this, so we're going to click done, but I do want to show you how to make sure that your response has been submitted. So now we're back to the search screen. We're going to click done again. We want to get back to the supplier portal itself. And this time we're in the supplier portal, but instead of clicking search or view current bid opportunities, we've already made our response. We're going to click manage responses. And under manage responses, we see that 178969, our reference number, is in active status for negotiation 183832, 1. This is the one we just submitted, and what you want to see here after you've submitted is active. If you see that it's in draft, or if you see that it's in archive, that means that you may need to take action. Draft means that it has not been submitted yet. You've saved a copy, but you haven't hit the submit button. Archive would mean that the response is a response to a previous version of the bid before an amendment took place, or a response that's been updated more recently. So here we see active. That's exactly what we want to see. And if we did want to revise our response, right, if we decide that we left out one document, for example, we're going to click on the response number, not the negotiation number. The negotiation number will take us back to that summary screen that you've seen so much of. Instead, we're going to click on this response number. We're going to let it load. And you're going to see that there is a revise button right here. So this will show us what we've already submitted. It's the exact same as the summary, as the review screen that you saw just a moment ago. So we can review what we've submitted, and we can say, you know what, we only attached 2 documents here. We meant to attach 3. We click the revise button. It'll open up the exact same interface that we saw last time. We'll click the plus button because we want to add one more attachment. We'll choose one more attachment here. And then we can go through this exactly the same way. We added one more attachment. I always like to go to the review screen just to be absolutely certain that what I think I've attached is attached there. So we can go to the review screen. We can see the 3 attachments that are included. That's good news. And then once you're happy with your response, oh, I'm sorry, there's one other thing you'll need to do. Because you're revising, you will need to change your response price. So we recommend the line has to be different than the one that you submitted initially. So what we recommend is that you can simply add or subtract a penny from your initial response. So you bid 100,000 the first time. Now you're going to bid $100,000.01. Now you're ready to hit submit. You'll get the same pop-up, except you have a new reference number, 178970. And when you hit OK and click done, oh, sorry, I navigated away from the screen we wanted. Click done one too many times. But if you go to manage responses, what you'll see now is that 178970, the newer response, is now listed as active. So that tells you that your bid has been submitted and you're all set. Thanks so much for watching, and happy bidding.